Welcome back, everyone, here at the North American NALCS. We are here for the final game of the night, the decider between Team Envy and NRG Esports. Right now, it's tied 1 game apiece. Game 3 is coming up. We had over an hour-long game, which was awesome. Obviously, the longest of the season.
Yeah.
Split. Season counts spring split.
I can't remember any games that were that long. Last split either, or like in recent memory.
Echo Fox had that crazy comeback.
The one with Froggen, but was that 64 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 64 something, right? It was like close to that long. So they were the same ones, but we got to talk about the player of the game from last one. GBM was insane on Vladimir. 57,000 damage dealt in an hour-long game, more than a quarter of his team's damage. I mean, that guy was the one.
Yeah, he was playing absolutely incredible throughout the game. A little shout out to Kiwi Kid, who was also doing very comparable damage. He was about 10k behind the mid laner, so actually put out a ton of damage on that late game. Zyra did very well for himself as well.
Yeah, the one sad thing to talk about, though, is the fact that this honestly could have been a 2-0 stomp. Envy crushed game 1, losing a single kill. That was it. And in game 2, they were 11,000 gold up before 40 minutes. They were smashing this game so hard, and they lost a game with that kind of a gold lead. That graph doesn't look that impressive because it looks kind of small, but that's 11,000 gold down there at the bottom of that trough. That's usually when games just straight and you're like, yeah, they just won the whole time. And that was not the case. Big comeback. A lot of that, of course, was GBM, but you got to feel bad if you're Envy and that happens to you.
Yeah, it's definitely rough, and it's one of those super exhausting games just mentally. You're going through a 65-minute game. You have to be putting in so much focus the entire time, and then to lose that, it always feels so bad. If I play a game like this, even just solo queue, which is much less pressure than this, if I lose an hour game,
so you don't want to hit that play again button for a bit.
Not even just for the day. I'm done for a
Oh, really?
Like, I'm out of there, dude.
Like, next patch, I'll play again.
Yeah, I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
See you in 2 weeks at the very most.
But then I'm on there in an hour because I'm addicted.
Yeah, of course. That's how it works, right? I'm just going to play a different role. You know what? I'm just going to play some support Zyra. I'm just going to carry from the bot lane. Like, we're good. Yeah, that's right. Just, hope you get the Ziggs and the ARAM and you're good. So it's going to be a great game. We're coming into game 3 pretty soon. But before we head into that one, here's NRG's new support with some words about his time in the LCS.
Nah, I'm definitely happy to be back. I still think I'm better than a lot of supports even still. And people call me a veteran, but yeah, I guess I am a veteran. I'm not going to dispute that. But no, there's a lot of new supports, like TSMI's Biofrost now. He's pretty good. I think he's pretty good. But I feel like I'm still better than most. So I guess it just makes sense that if you're still one of the top at what you do, you should just keep doing it. And I like doing it, so there's that.
I got to say, it's a good mix, right?
Yep.
Like what you're doing, good at it. Great, keep doing it.
Yeah, no reason not to. He played very well for his team that game. Definitely a lot of fans for Kiwi Kid. Yeah. Everywhere he goes, it's hard to not like the guy.
It's why I'm glad you're a caster.
Oh.
Because I assume you like doing it and you're good at it.
I do. Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you.
I mean, I got you, man.
Right back at you.
I mean, this crowd's actually been really great because they're like full of love. During the break, we had someone came out and was like, hey, who's going to win? And people just shouted Kiwi Kid.
Yeah,
it wasn't even like NRG. It was just like, Kiwi Kid, 1v5. All right. So, fun to hear the fans. Yeah, Kiwi, big name, of course, here in the North American LCS. And, hey, he's actually played the most games you possibly can because he brought it to game 3. I mean, he's going to keep that record going.
Veteran.
I know, right?
Guess so.
Massive stuff from him. So here we go into the final game of picks and bans. Envy back on the blue side. I want to see how these adaptations go. Proxon's still not going to get that in Italy. Still no Rise allowed. And, yeah, Envy realized, that Zyra ban we brought out in game 1? Should probably bring that back.
Yeah, and the one thing I have to say, if you're going to keep Rise on the table, Jad, the guys at the desk are saying, ban away the Vladimir. You got to ban Vladimir. If you do that, you're leaving Swain open, which is what they have banned every game. They obviously could try to pick it away as well. They do have first pick, so they do have those options. But if they want to ban it, they are going to be leaving that Swain open.
Or maybe they will. They'd always choose to ban it not first, but slightly later on in their ban order. I like to believe that teams are smart about their ban order and that you try to surprise people later on in the draft. But now that ban is still going to be Swain after all.
Yeah, so probably going to be looking to take Vladimir first. And it's going to be Kindred taken off the table. Once again, it's going to be kind of, if you take one off, you have to take 2 off. That's been at least the thought process. Whether or not it's true is something that'll flesh out more over the course of the seasons. We play more and more games. But for now, that really has been the standard across all regions.
And the question is, which roles are worth pinching here? Kindred obviously would have been the jungle pinch if not for the ban coming out here. There's still Lucian, who's argued at the top of the table. Assuming that game was closed out. Yeah, hey, look, early game Lucian crushed it. No surprise there. So,
gotta feel like you're scared of the Vladimir, though. And if this is something that Ninja wants to play, I would like to see him take that. It's also theoretically, you can put a top lane as well. You know, I'm not sure if it's Seraph's style really, but it is a flex pick, right?
I mean, this guy was like a Nidalee and Jace main back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, if you played those champions, you played Vladimir too, and there's a lock-in right there. Yeah, good call on that one. I think it's no surprise, really. Envy had to go for that one. Calm, cool, and collected faces, though, on NRG. You kind of had to assume at some point that first pick was coming through. Say, all right, you can take that one, but here's what's up.
It's also something that kind of forces the hand of NRG a little bit because they don't want to give Lucian for free to Laud. So even if you don't really want to play it, like maybe it's not your favorite, you'd rather play Caitlyn or Ezreal, you almost have to pick it because giving it second round away, I feel like is kind of a pretty bad situation when it's something that Envy has been prioritizing really highly. Laud obviously loves that Lucian, likes the new build, and if you're just going to give that away to him for free second round, that's got to be a steal for Envy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And back in like 6.8, I didn't think Lucian was that insane, and I thought you were okay picking something else instead of it, mostly Sivir. But since people had sort of discovered the Black Cleaver build, and it got buffed as of 6.9 or so, I think, yeah, Lucian's top dog as far as AD carry is concerned does get grabbed up. Santorin actually wanted to grab that Rek'Sai here, and you can see what people sort of perceive the pecking order to be in Nidalee, Kindred, Rek'Sai's next up.
I've got to say, though, I actually really liked him on the Gragas.
Me too.
I felt like it gave him like a lot of explosive playmaking, especially if you are going to be playing towards the late game. Gragas late game is so much more valuable simply because you have the displacement. You can't put like a numerical value on displacement because that can win you a game single-handedly. It can win you a fight. Whereas the Rek'Sai late game, you're basically just your W.
Yeah, and honestly, your late game's not even that good in general, right?
Yep.
So like Lucian and Rek'Sai both, I think, are champions that tend to fall off later on into the game, unless you play like full shrimp style, where you split push and have the highest gold in the game.
Yeah.
Probably not the case here. And look at this, Envy actually playing a bit more backline focus. Like, yes, Vladimir's going to dive in, but you're seeing a marksman jungle get grabbed right here, we assume, and a Braum, which is usually there to protect a backline. So it's sort of about the high-profile damage dealers from behind a tank wall right now for Envy.
Yeah, it's also something where Graves traditionally can outfarm their Rek'Sai kind of hard. We've seen this in a number of games that I've been watching on this patch. And if Graves is able to really get that early farm lead, he can get aggressive, he can bully out the Rek'Sai, especially if Rek'Sai is going to be going for the sight zone, going for those non-combat stats. Graves can really get it in his face and just push him around.
Yeah, I agree right here. So NRG now, I think they have to, even though Graves can outfarm, I think they still have to kind of think about that early game pretty heavily here. Lucian will get outscaled by almost every other AD carry, especially because of his build order. He's not going to get that 70-80% crit build. And you're against a Vladimir. We saw what a 6-minute Vladimir can do. And unless you think Ninja's not going to play it even close to as well as GBM, you've got to give that a lot of respect. Right now, looking at champions that can go in. The Maokai 3 games in a row for Quas, going to keep playing that champion. But Kiwi Kid actually switching over to a Janna here, something that can definitely give you some lane phase pressure. But you kind of hope that the mid game keeps going well on top of that one, just for the attack damage buff.
I also do think that it can kind of enable Lucian to carry on into the late game a lot better because it enables you to play more aggressively. John has fantastic peeling. You get the bonus AD from the shield, and when you're super late game, you're getting a fair bit of AD from the AP ratio on it. So it does enable Lucian to kind of compete with some of those late game carries that would otherwise outclass him.
That's true. So yeah, more stats, always nice for your late game scaling as he pushes forward. Envy now to lock in their roster for their final game of their first match here, tied 1-1 against NRG. You can see those big ones at the top of the screen. It's because of each 1-1 game in this best of 3 here. And this is the one that decides who ends their day in first place. It is. And it's going to be the Caitlyn picked up. So yep, there's the big backline, but also the Lyssandra's back in the mix here for Ninja, which does mean it's a top lane Vlad for Seraph, which means it's only one real tank, and that's Braum. Against Gangplank for GBM, by the way.
And GBM is known for his Gangplank. This is something that this guy was famous for in Korea. He was an amazing player on it in the LCK, and we haven't seen it as much lately, but I'm very excited to see it. I also think that it matches up pretty well against Lysandra because you're
orange out of the ult.
Yeah, you can just orange out of the ulti. I don't know. It removes Scurvy, I think it's called.
Yeah, remove Scurvy. Yep.
So you can actually pop out of that. And as far as lane matchups go, they're looking pretty good for NRG. The only thing is Vlad is going to be a problem for Maokai, and if you fall behind this game as Maokai as much as you did last game to Echo, the game is going to get really out of control. So Quas has to stay relevant. He has to keep pace with Seraph, and Seraph also is locking in the Ghost, which is an interesting adaptation.
Oh, interesting stuff here. Yeah, if he keeps that one, Ghost got buffed, and as of 6.10 it was. down to a 3-minute cooldown. The movement speed scales with levels, so it goes up to like 40% or something really high by late game, and he's going to get around that map, and it's going to be up to this one. This is the tiebreaker. This is the game that determines which team wins the match here in Game 3. The rest almost don't matter at that point. So one more time, open up Twitter, whether it's a web page, whether it's your phone, do whatever, and tweet us. Let us know who it's going to be. Hashtag NV win, hashtag NRG win. Who's it going to be for Game 3? Seraph got his Vladimir, Losandro's back in, but GBM got his Gangplank, and it's all down to this. Who's carrying harder? Who's going to win this one? And maybe can NRG survive an early game from Envy?
Seraph with another cool mastery pick. He's saying, screw the meta, I'm going Wind Speakers. And he's, or not Wind Speakers, Storm Raider Surge.
Storm Raider.
My mistake.
Okay.
So he has Storm Raider Surge, he has Ghost, so he's all about the speed. I'm imagining he still has Insight. If you pick up Insight, you pick up early Lucidity Boots, you have very low cooldowns on your Ghost, on your TP, 30% off those Summoner spells, which is awesome. And having that Storm Raider Surge, as long as he can actually get that to proc, he can have Ghost, you can have both the move speed going during your W, where you can't actually be slowed down, and you will be ridiculously fast as far as chasing down people, staying on top of them, and really accessing that backline.
Yeah, his Ghost is on a 2.5-minute cooldown now. 153 seconds. Definitely pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you add Lucidity on top of that, it's even better, but Kiwi Kid kind of in an awkward spot. He gets tagged by Braum. He could be in some trouble here.
Braum Q hit up. Looks like Ice a bit better than Wind, but he will get away without having to burn any summoners. 10 gold goes over to Hakuho for Bandit. Nice job. Good up. But Kiwi Kid going to recall back. I don't think he lost any potions or anything. And actually, Hakuho going to stop the recall. But there's still plenty of time. Minions are going to spawn in 2 seconds, and Kiwi Kid can walk in a lane in time to not miss anything. Shouldn't be too bad.
And if he wasn't actually paying attention, if you get caught window shopping there, Ignite might actually kill you if you don't shield that Q. So well played by him. And he is going to be able to be A-OK. Yeah. It's looking like we're going to have standard lane matchups once again. Seraph is looking like he's going to be the one helping to leash here for Proxen. And I'm really excited to see how things flesh out here for Seraph. Haven't seen Vladimir in the top lane in professional play myself just yet, so should be very interesting.
Yeah, we're going to have matched lanes right here, and once again, it's Envy actually taking the Krugs themselves. Braum plus Caitlyn taking them down, and it looks like actually Hakuho was not allowed to get any of the experience. Of course, you can't share XP, you have to last hit to get them, as of the new changes, and also they're worth less total experience here. So Hakuho, he's actually going to miss XP on none of them. Wow, the melees are all still alive, so he's on pace, and Lod already level 2.
Yeah, and one of the advantages is because Kiwi Kid had to base, they didn't actually have a chance to do their own camp. So that is something that they did gain from poking him out. Caitlyn, I definitely favor over Lucian in the early game, but Janna is going to be pretty useful in these trades, and it should be a better lane for NRG overall because of the Janna, I feel. I
agree. I think that tilts the matchup more than it would otherwise. Yep. So things to watch out for. How will Hakuho play the matchup? Level 2 here first for NRG. They pushed a bit faster, but that melee minion should be level 2 for Hakuho. Assuming he didn't miss anything, he'll have it, and it's not going to be a big deal. Yeah, there it is. Nice job eating the traps from out of range of Lod. Here's the first attempt at a gank. The flash comes in, gets a bit of a knockup, but Ninja getting away in time, even with Santorin burning his own flash. So that gank meant nothing.
Yeah, Santorin was a split second too late. If he actually popped him up, you know, a fraction of a second earlier, it would have stopped the claw from going through, which would have cost at least the flash from Ninja, if not his life.
Absolutely the case. So unlucky there by Santorin, as you would say online, but that's just the case right here, and lost some of his early time and his early summoner spell. Get that back eventually. Seraph, 150 magic damage with that rank 2 Q so far, and otherwise feeling pretty happy about this lane matchup.
The way that he's manipulating the wave is actually really smart as well. Seraph is holding it very aggressively, using his Q's kind of drain tank this. He's trying to keep it away from the turret as long as possible, but Quas does get it there. If he wasn't able to, he's basically tapped on mana, and he wouldn't have been able to base. So getting that base off early is really important for Maokai in a matchup like this. You're going to need to go double Doran's aggressive early type items to even keep up with the Vlad. You have to be able to clear, you have to be able to shove in the waves, or you're going to get smashed.
And you can see some nice clinic right there from Seraph on how to last hit under turret. Because of the way the E works now, you can just quick double tap that and explode it, and it's going to put your casters right at the spot where, hold on, GBM taking a lot of damage. He's going to live. But yeah, if you double tap the E, Seraph can basically set these casters up so that one hit from the turret, then an auto attack from Vlad last hits them. And as the minions start aggroing up, you delay it and you auto Q. And overall, just good mechanics by Seraph.
Yep, that is the flash for GBM, but seeing that Ninja is actually completely I think the GBM is like, yeah, even if we do see the jungler come back, I'm probably okay. So I think he is right for now, but he does have to be worried about those return ganks.
Definitely scary stuff here. We're seeing actually just a more aggressive game than we had seen before as well. That these junglers really quite active, trying to make these things happen, trying to break the lanes apart. And, well, when you've got hard CC in these lanes, it's no big surprise. Proxen, nice steal away, and Centaur says, wait a second, there's no Raptors there. I need to go somewhere else.
Hey, that's mine.
How dare you?
So GBM sitting pretty. He's able to get the first blue buff as well, which is pretty nice. Because Rek'Sai doesn't require that, they actually donated that first one over to him, and that's going to allow him to just spam his spells out without any worry about mana. And being able to just kind of orange on cooldown is going to keep him a bit more healthy in lane. So yeah, he also did start basically the super greedy build, where he does have just that mana crystal right away and can build quicker into that Trinity Force.
So we can see the lanes match up right now. +2 is the lead for NRG, and that's after the double Krugs were killed from Envy. So even a better lead than you would see from the numbers, actually.
Yep.
Envy cheats slightly. Gold overall, actually, though, 400 in favor of Envy. You can see a decent-sized lead in the mid lane and also a reasonable one in the jungle. So
yeah, the jungle is going to be something that we have to track, especially because Proxen has gone the red smite. He's going aggressive. We do actually see a pretty aggressive smite here on Santorin as well, so both these junglers want to ramp up aggression. We have the chilling smite, which really enables the early game ganks for that Rek'Sai. It's a fantastic pickup if you're saying we need to get something done early, and they have good gank assist, with Quas, so maybe trying to do something on Seraph, and it could help in those sort of matchups.
Right. I mean, part of it's like why you pick Rek'Sai in the first place.
Yeah.
She's one of the very best early game junglers, honestly. You've got, you're a form swapper, right? You've got basically 2 abilities per skill slot, so 3/6, you've got more spells than everyone else. And in general, you tunnel forward on someone, you chilling smite them, you're guaranteed to reach them at that point for the knockup. And we'll see if Santorin can make gank pressure happen. And that's kind of the reason for his champion. His Proxen will otherwise tend to outscale on this Graves, especially with red smite. He's going to be hard to kill.
Yeah, and it is a pretty big investment in the early game to goes because he's not going to be providing vision for his team, so he must provide ganks. He must provide kind of just himself as a moving ward. He has to be able to be aggressive, move around the map, and actually compete with this Graves, because if you're not going to be warding, if you're not going to be going that full-on support build, you have to do it through the pressure of ganking and of dueling that other jungler.
Yeah, definitely agree. So we'll see if that finally comes out from him. Ninja has flash, though, and well, every lane that has a movement summoner has it available. It's Ghost for Seraph in this case. But it's Proxen who's actually spending more effort here. You can see him running forward on this one. Nice last hit by Ninja, prevents the barrel. And GBM says, I'm in a bit of danger. Considered recalling back. Now you can see actually a staggered recall as OQ. Actually, it's just the team split across, but they're trying to deny him a little bit here off these minions.
And GBM has got to be a little bit annoyed, getting a lot of attention here from Proxen early, and he's already getting pushed in. So now finally Santorin is going to come over, try to give his mid laner a little bit of help, because you don't want to let them just get this much free poke on your mid lane turret. That's one of the nice advantages of having a ranged jungler in the early game, is that you can just show up to a lane and help push.
They definitely can, but right now we're seeing the top laners fight back and forth. It's close to equal though. Seraph will basically tie the score with Quas when this happens, but the mid lane it's -15, and it's Proxen pushing Santorin around the map as well. Both these players level 6. You heard the farm alarm earlier. As we're slowly just seeing small leads in various matchups, the jungle and, well, mostly the mid lane now, I guess, for Envy. But yet again, this team has the slight early game lead. 300 right now, but every single game this series, they've had the early game lead.
Yep. Quas has done pretty well for himself so far, though. I think he's playing the matchup pretty well. As far as early game goes, Vlad's clear, cannot really compete with the Maokai. The Maokai can outpush the Vladimir before he gets a lot more ranks in those spells. So he's playing it smart. He gets the early Dorans, invests into that, is able to then get himself to the Cal and kind of start building tanky. And he should be fine as far as the 1v1. The scary thought is obviously just that Vlad is always scaling.
Sure, of course. You can see Quas double Doran's ring to have the mana pool to make sure he can keep the push going. Definitely like the choice. You wouldn't normally need to do that, but I think it makes total sense for the matchup. We'll see if Quas can make a TP flank or something happen right now, as they are pretty close to equal, these two. With Vladimir walking back to lane this time around, we're seeing both these players save their teleports. And they know this is kind of the part of the game where you really need to make sure you can get across the map and make these plays happen. A TP advantage this late in the game would definitely get abused.
I would really like to see Quas make a play with his TP early this game. because it's something that we have been missing in the previous 2 games. He has not gotten much of anything done with his TP early. He has not really contributed, and he's just been kind of losing lanes. So I want to see him actually make use of this champion early on. And a Maokai TPing at this point in the game, I feel, is more impactful than the Vladimir. Before the Vladimir builds up that CDR, before the Vladimir has access to the spell power as well. So while the Vladimir is super, super tanky right now, the amount of damage he's putting out isn't as impactful as Maokai just holding down a carry, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, certainly utility is useful no matter what, or your farm comes in any case right now. Right now, both bot lanes have yet to buy. They're sitting at about 3,000 gold apiece right now, which means an entire Youmuu's for OQ, and it means basically BF pickaxe here for Lod, and a bit more after that. Right now, though, just the pressure. NRG trying to deny that little bit of farm. They are up a couple of CS here. Not a huge amount, really, but you know, a few from their lane pressure, but it's otherwise trading close to equal.
I really do feel like this is in the advantage of Envy, though, if OQ isn't basing, because completing that Ghost Blade, the instant that you have that done, you're at such a massive advantage over this Caitlyn, and the longer the Caitlyn can delay that, the less time she has to deal with this massive discrepancy in power. So I think the fact that OQ and Kiwi could haven't actually just like culling, shove this out, based and bought is a mistake.
I should correct myself, actually. I think it's 3,200 to get a Youmuu's. They're not quite at that much money yet. So I have to sort of correct myself that they couldn't have done it yet, and I think that might be the case as soon as they do have that 3,200 gold on the AD carry. OQ has enough mana to pop culling, and he's got rough with the gold for it. So we might see that happen soon and try to play for the power spike. Yeah. We'll see, though. We'll see. If they just delay, then that's not the case here, and we'll have to watch what happens. Seraph and Quas once again in a bit of a battle in the top lane, but they have so much healing back and forth. It's not going to mean too terribly much. The farm, again, slightly in the lead of Seraph. Okay, he's up officially 4 as the lanes balance out. And once again, Quas doing a fair bit of damage, and actually Seraph starting to lose some HP.
Yep,
Is he in range for the Q?
He's probably going to catch up with the move speed, I would imagine.
No, has to hit a minion. So Quas running away on time.
Yeah, and Quas is playing it right. You really do have to play around that bar when you are fighting a Vladimir. It tells you exactly when it's coming up, so there's no excuse to really get chunked out by that. And that's something that's just a baseline requirement of laying against Vlad. If you let him get the empowered Qs on you consistently, you will lose lane.
Yeah, you definitely will, so be careful in this one. NRG being forced a little bit out right now, but Hawkpo basically out of mana. He actually can't ult and do anything else. He has just 100 mana right now, but here's the mid lane pressure. The slow end of Neji's trying to claw away, and he will not get knocked up. Nice. The W kept Santorin out of reach, and he got away without burning anything, but now the teleport coming in because the bot lane was already taking some damage, but it's the top lane he's actually going for. Proxon's already up there to take down Quas. The GVM has ulti, but no teleport himself. There we go. Up to the turret they go. Ulti doesn't mean a whole lot, and now Quas zoned away from his tower. He has nowhere to go. He should be taken down. The first blood comes through. Proxon gets it now to the bot side as Santorin joins the fray. But not enough damage to mean anything. A great first blood for Envy. What a teleport play.
I think that Quas was probably dead either way, but I really do feel he should have stayed by his turret. Running away from the turret just seals his death. At least there's some hope where if they kind of drop the ball, mess up the dive, the turret is at least assisting you long enough that maybe you get out of there alive. He does hold on to his summoner, so that's something in his favor, but still, I feel like it's assuring your death to you lose turret.
Santorin does take away the big Krug, doesn't get the small one. That goes to Lod. Congratulations, Caitlyn, but look at the damage up the top side. Quas now is forced to burn teleport to get back to the top of the map to defend that turret. It will survive for a little bit longer, but you still got Seraph and Proxy wanting to get stuff done. Seraph healing a big amount, and that turret getting lower and lower, but he really wants to fight this guy. But not to great success. Already down to half HP with flash down. Sorry, teleport down. But Envy won't go for the play.
So OQ did base there. He actually bought up a full Essence Reaver before changing his mind and going back to the Ghost Blade. So he was considering, hey, I have the full gold for this. Maybe I should just buy it. Decides better of that. And it's going to pick up the Ruby Crystal, build towards that Black Cleaver. And meanwhile, we do have Quas picking up pieces of a Spirit Visage, but Seraph already has a pretty nice item advantage because he didn't invest so heavily into the early game by buying those extra Doran's rings. Quas had to base at kind of awkward gold times, and now just looking at the item breakpoints, it's a lot better for Seraph. Has a full Spirit Visage as well as the CDR from the Fiendish Codex on top of it.
Yeah, so he's definitely a scary man right now and hard to get rid of. Absolutely 15 CS and, well, nearly a turret kill. Blue off. Oh, no! Okay, Ninja gets it. Good job, 62 gold. And plenty of cooldown reduction now on this Lissandra. Want to point out real quick for all the Gangplank fans, we are still in 6.10 for this match. This is pre-Trinity Force changes.
Yeah,
Curious to see what GP would build after that, but
I
Still
feel
has
like
the crit on it.
You probably still want
I think you do too.
just because you want the Sheen proc for the barrels.
And it's 10 more CDR. It's not like it's terrible.
Yep, it's definitely not bad. Obviously, you prefer the crit, but still fine. This is becoming problematic though. You know, we didn't see Santorin focus on top lane early, and now Quas is just at the point where Seraph has enough levels and enough CDR that he's never going to be able to do anything again. It's actually impossible to kill him in the 1v1 at this point. So Seraph is just going to keep pushing it in, keep getting poke on the turret, and they're looking to set up dives, and Seraph is going to compound this lead, but here comes a TP from...
Yeah, here comes the plays. Ninja wants in. There is the teleport coming in. They're looking, oh, nice dodge on the root. Quas getting ulted. Ninja's got to be careful. They're losing a lot of health. He's going to flash away, and Quas will survive. Ooh, the barrel was close. They get it shot down. Ninja will survive. A save in the top laner. NRG give away no kills, but now Santorin is down here to say, hey, bot lane, we have a Yomu's. So get away.
It was Ninja. Ninja actually just walked up there. He didn't TP. It was my mistake. I saw him up there. Thought he had TP'd in for the flank, but just did make the rotation. And GBM did, thankfully for them, have his TP to later answer that. But either way, you know, a nice play there from Envy. They do get out the TP from GBM, and Ninja's going to have TP advantage here pretty shortly.
And it's NRG, for the first time all series, getting the first Drake, actually. So bot lane, it's going to be the Mountain Drake. It's going to be bonus damage to turrets and epic monsters, such as Drakes and Barons, basically. And this shouldn't be too big of a problem. Their bot lane was starting to win. They got the recall. They got the Yomu's. And Envy actually immediately ran away from the lane, covered mid to let a Ninja roam happen to sacrifice the bot lane. And a quick rotation around, Kiwi Kid joins Santorin, and there we go. Mountain Drake for NRG, and if they can keep doing reasonably well in this early game and use that now Yomu's power spike Lucian, they can start getting some things done.
I do like the play from Laud and Hakuo to just kind of abandon that lane though, because Seraph has such massive top lane advantage. They don't need to risk dying in a 2v2. They don't need to play anything risky in the bot lane. Give that up, it's fine. Seraph is crushing top. Just continue to scale on this Caitlyn. Get towards the late game, that's what they want to do.
See if they can get any more done right here. Mid under fire. The cupcake wall doesn't mean too much, and looks like NRG going to survive that attempted assault. 1,000 gold lead though for Envy, largely from that top lane advantage now that Seraph is ballooned over Quas. Quas actually sent down to the other side of the map, with the only really neutral objective up right now being Rift Herald. There's always a chance you can play for it. And honestly, if Seraph gets that, that'd be even more insane.
Pretty surprised to see Ninja Tabbies as the pickup for Seraph as well, though. I was kind of expecting with the Ghost, with the Insight, to see him go for Lucidity, but it's not going to be the case.
Yeah, he actually just is more concerned about being DPS'd out by the Lucian and Gangplank and saying, you know what, Quas, you're not going to touch me, and I don't care about the CC you have with the root, I'll just W it, so.
Yep.
And you're right, yeah, not wanting the Lucidity either for the cooldowns on the Summoners and everything else, so that's his play. It's the tankier build. Let's see what else he can get for himself. Ooh, a nice little knock up there. Proxen wants to fight for the ward and fights away the Rek'Sai at the very least. That ward, though, does survive, so Santorin keeps his territory up. A nice barrel chain gets rid of most of the minions, and GBM keeps the turret alive for one more attempt. But that mid lane is taking quite a bit of damage.
GBM is also scaling pretty heavily here on this Gangplank. Obviously, that's a champion that can be an absolute terror late game as well, and always has the potential to win a team fight simply from that great barrel chain that chunks out the mid laner, chunks out, that AD carry. But it's very scary having Seraph just kind of with this free lane right now and just scaling so heavily, especially when you take it into consideration that the Caitlyn is probably going to be a lot more effective than the Lucian in most late game fights.
Totally agree, as long as you can have the uptime there. And we had seen before some struggles in the Caitlyn's being able to join the team, especially if they're a really fast forward motion team. You only run so fast, but it feels like the ranges that Envy is going to use probably going to include Caitlyn.
Certainly true. And there is always the potential of the Maokai and that Rek'Sai jumping on top of this Caitlyn, the GP ult getting dropped, etc. That kind of a play can take down Caitlyn pretty quick.
So it's always down to the gameplay at the end of it all. Yep. And right now the gameplay has led Envy to a successful early game, 1,500 gold lead. They lost the Dragon, but I would still take the gold lead if I were them, and especially with how well Seraph's doing right now. GBM wants to defend this. Going to go for the barrel chain. Not really, no. He's going to leave that one up. Proxen fighting for wards back and forth. Takes down the green ward. Next Dragon is quite a bit away, but Baron's only in a minute right now. The other team has actually prioritized Rift Herald, I think, at all this series, from what I can remember. So
yeah, we did see Proxen take it in game one.
Oh, you're right. He did.
because I just remember that discussion.
And Centaur got it in game 2, actually,
Yep.
I think. So I take it back. Rift Herald was grabbing both the other games. I just forgot about it. And now here comes another
both
teleport
TPs.
play in the top side. Seraph wants to kill off GBM. And look at the damage output. He gets practically the solo kill. A bit of help from Graves. And now the teleports don't really mean much. Quas comes in, but Ninja just keeps himself afloat with this one. Taking a bit of damage, and here comes the Culling. Caitlyn has killed the turret on the other side of the map, but now it's Ninja trying to get away. A flash and a flash follow. OQ gets the kill. NRG on the board with 1. 2-1 overall the scoreboard. Keep in mind, mid-outer did drop to Lot.
Overall, I say a win for NV, certainly, as it does cost both TPs, both summoners from Quas, both summoners from Ninja, but they do get the turret on the end. And Centaur and flexing is, Seraph actually is the one who's flexing his muscles now, taking out GBM pretty easily there. And GBM, did get the ult down, did get some damage down, and it was actually a pretty nice play here from Quas as he does come in to keep Ninja in range of the turret, which allowed them to finish it off later on. But GBM kind of realizing he's dead here, trying to get as much done as possible, and in comes Quas, and this is actually really nice. He's able to get in on Ninja and cue him backwards into the turret. These extra turret shots do allow him to finally take him out. The kill goes on to OQ, which is exactly what you want, so not too bad.
Yeah, good stuff. And even OQ actually playing it right, not trying to dive too hard into Lissandra to take any extra damage. He didn't just jump on top of him, get hit by everything, and a shield like he could make sure he stayed alive. But theoretically, OQ was under a bit of threat and played it right to get away from that one. Ninja, though, not far away from Zhonya's Hourglass. It's going to make it even harder to get rid of that Lissandra. The champion he won with on game 1 was banned away from in game 2, and gets it again here in the 3rd. Maybe once again, after you get 10 minutes into the game, they're looking pretty solid. They had, that small deficit in game 2 because they forgot to get the turret kill, and Santorin farmed so much, but yeah, it feels like they've just been the better team as soon as you get any semblance of rotations most of the time.
Bright spots for NRG, though. They do have OQ at that 2-item power spike. He has his Black Cleaver. He has his Ghost Blade. This is, I think, probably the peak of his power in comparison to the Caitlyn. Yeah. So that's something that's definitely going for them. GP has more of a hard curve as far as his power. It just keeps kind of increasing going towards the late game. But I do feel like NRG probably want to try to get something done around this Lucian's power right now because so far they haven't really had a good answer for Seraph.
Definitely agree, and it's probably just going to get worse because who's going to actually split push against that guy? You're seeing another Spectre's Cal come out of Quas. Yeah, and right now it's GBM without any stats, and I don't think he's got a chance in the world of surviving this one. He will play Gazan, running away, burns the summoner, heals Seraph, nearly gets in, but no, a flash gets him out. Now a big heal out of Seraph, trying to run for dear life, and pops the Sanguine Pool. He's going to run out of health right here. The 2v1 going to work out, and good job to OQ taking him out. Looks like they can pull Seraph in far enough that the 2v1 works.
Yeah, Seraph goes for the dive. Remember, he has that Storm Raider Surge plus the Ghost, so he was actually going super fast. When he drops the ult plus the Empowered Q, he immediately gets the Storm Raider Surge. He's diving in onto GBM, but GBM able to stay alive long enough with the help of those oranges that OQ can come in and finish him off.
Saved by the buoyancy of Citrus there, GBM staying alive long enough. And now, a bit of the waiting game. 15 seconds until the roughly most farmed member of Envy is going to respawn. Seeing the attempt, nice pickup. Proxen did get the Rift Scuttle. That goes to the blue team. And it's still a 2,500 gold lead. Even though that kill went through, it doesn't matter. There's more farm, there's more turret kills. Envy in the lead, and I think their late game is fine, but, well, GBM hard carried the late game before. He can certainly do it again in this Gangplank.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can.
Envy also has a more diverse kind of damage profile than we saw NRG having last game, because they do have Graves with some decent physical damage coming out as well. So it's, even if you do just delete this Caitlyn, there's still Graves with physical damage, right? You have to build armor and MR because there's such a diverse kind of damage profile here coming out from Envy, which is one of the things I really like about their comp. And on the other side, for NRG, do you really care about Maokai's magic damage? No, you just build pure armor.
Yeah, I agree. And you think about it as well, and there's 4 real big damage threats. Graves, Liss, Caitlyn, Vlad, they're all scary. And even though the only real tank is the Brahmin as a support, he's not that tanky. It's like, well, Seraph's still gonna get really big. Ninja is almost impossible to kill. He's got Zhonya's and the Self full. Proxen's gonna build half tanky. He's got the Fan Mantis so far. We're probably seeing Hysterics come out before too long as well. Enemy's actually pretty hard to kill for how much damage they deal.
Also with the investment into the Ninja heavies already, and we did see actually even GBM picking up a random wins last game. It's not out of the question to see a more tanky version of Vladimir, especially with such a physical heavy damage team.
Absolutely.
Because if you can stay alive on Vladimir, you can just do so much work just by sticking around, drawing pressure. They have to respond to you because you're just never going to die if you don't put a lot of damage in.
Totally agree, and that's going to be difficult as he keeps healing himself up. GBM and Seraph in a 1v1, and just, well, Seraph can kite him out. It's just not too hard for him. Storm Raider Surge is getting him out of those barrels. But once again, here comes OQ getting into the backside. 2v1 on a Seraph, dashes in, goes for the play, and can they do enough as Seraph is still running for dear life, and well, if he pops Ghost, then yeah, he's fine.
It's kind of funny to see that it's like the Lucian who's ganking over and over.
Right.
It's the AD carry sneaking up to the top lane, going for the ganks. It's not Santorin, who's actually 0-0-0, has not really had any involvement in this game, but he's going for the steal.
Not going to get that one. Proxen does get the smite, does take it down, and now Santorin's got to run, get to his tunnels and get away, but Ninja has joined the fray, and they want Quas even through his ultimate. They don't care. They think they can burn down the Maokai. Ulti buys a bit of time from Kiwi Kid, gives him a shield as well, but it's still not going to be enough. He roots up, but he's still just stuck inside the team. Hakuho sadly secures the kill. Would have liked to give it to someone else, but 300 gold to the Braum. Boss was finally taken down, plus the Dragon. That's a Mountain Drake for each.
Kind of confused as to why NRG actually was sitting around there. Yeah, if you want to have Santorin go for the steal, that's great. But GBM is actually hanging out in the bot lane. Obviously had no intention of coming. While they're fighting, he's just basing as Santorin's going in. So he had no intention of TPing into this fight. And that to me, once again, is either some sort of a miscommunication or like an underestimation of how much damage Envy can do, because they were committing to this. Seraph was TPing in, but yet NRG's kind of just hanging around in the 4v5 and gives up a free kill as well as a summoner from Quas.
Well, good stuff right now then, and Envy, you know, capitalizing on misplays, I suppose you could say. That's been the story of multiple of their wins here, but, you know, they've been able to run with it. They're 4,000 gold up. They've finally equalized that Dragon. They've even got the same buff, so that's kind of nice. And, well, they've been able to do a lot with Mountain Drake so far, and I think that trend might just continue here. Ninja playing the defensive wave through the game. He's got to be afraid of the fact that OQ and GBM just keep being together. The two Koreans in the lineup, I think kind of unsurprisingly, are playing together on NRG, the two that, you know, speak the same mother tongue, and sometimes that's just really relevant when you're trying to coordinate the game. Looking to play for the blue buff right now, though. Ninja doesn't want to give that one up. Neither does Proxen. Neither does Santorin. They're going to go for that one. Wow, there's the explosion, and the attempt at a dive. Seraph in the front lines, pops the ulti, kites around, taking a lot of cooling damage, and now Sanguine Pool's under the root. How much damage can Alcohol block, though? His ulti's still down, and Santorin stuck in the front line. Ulted up, Ninja buying some time, and there's the first kill. Quas goes down as the magic of this tank just gets shredded by Lod's physical damage. Proxen's as well, and now it's time for the chase. 5 versus 4. They're all on the map, they're all running forward, and now GBM pops the ulti to buy some time. Hakuho ignited, and he will go down. The true damage stacking up. The spike from Santorin even helping with that one. Kiwi Kid getting himself a kill, his first of the game, and only 3 for the team.
A nice turnaround at the end from NRG, but it was a great play from Ninja that really kind of broke up this fight. This is something I like. Oh, they're going to go for a kill here onto Seraph.
Well, Seraph pushing really hard on the top lane, and he's got nowhere to go with this one. He's going to try to get the Q, not going to be coming up in time. OQ on a killing spree, 3-0-0 from him.
Good stuff.
Overextension.
Yeah, good stuff from NRG to punish that, though. But we do see NRG is at least trying to make plays, right? This is something that they did not do in the first game. They are losing this game. I like that they went for it. It didn't, at first, did not turn out so well for them, but they're trying, right? This is what you have to do. You cannot just roll over and die and give up turret after turret, objective after objective. So NRG are fighting tooth and nail. They're staying in this game because they're looking for fights. They're trying to make stuff happen, and it's working out pretty well. Picking up 2 kills on the back of that is not too bad. Unfortunately, I think they did give up the mid lane inner turret.
Yeah, mid lane tier 2 is gone, so you're seeing that, you know, it's kind of the play. It's a lot of what I would consider Seraph a bit known for is he's going to push really, really hard, and he's going to pull 3 people to his lane. You better push the other lanes while he's doing that, and it worked out in this case.
So here is the play once again, and we do have that ward drop. Quas is going to be TPing in, and Seraph is just drawing so much of this damage, taking so long to kill, and here goes Ninja. Ninja going to go back into that back line, and really nice self-ultimate there. Gets 3-man W, 3-man self-ult, and chunks out the back line, forces NRG to retreat.
Yeah, Seraph played it right as well, juggling the cooldowns. When he pops Zonias, he's already charging up for that empowered Q, so that when he comes back out, well, he's going to heal again, and he's still not going to go down. And you saw that he survived the entire fight. 4-4 in kills right now, 5,000 gold lead, nearly the advantage for Envy, as they have to be afraid of Quas's attempt to flank. His flash is not far from being back up, and they're going to go for the dive right now onto the mid lane. Hakuho puts up the shield, tries to run away. Seraph actually buying the time and saying, Quas, you can't go past me. And he says, you're right, I cannot. But they can still go past the mid lane. Plenty of damage coming out, and here's the teleport in from Lissandra. Ninja wants in, and that's going to be OQ for certain. They don't need to ult him. Turret does go down, but it's a 5v4 with a big health lead. A lot more can be done for Envy.
Baron's still up as well, and at this stage in the game, 40 seconds on your AD means a lot. Will Envy actually take the risk to go over towards Baron?
Yeah, it looks like they're considering it, but keep in mind Santorin has been generally better at smiting than Proxton. Proxton's had a few more good smites this game. He secured the Dragon, he secured the blue buff in that prior replay, so he's seeing some elements of this, but oh geez, GBM's got to be careful. I wouldn't even be surprised if Ninja had gone for that one actually and looked for the kill on the Gangplank, but instead it was the play for the bot lane turret. OQ respawns in 6 seconds, and that's going to mean the end of this one as a great set of wave clear comes out of GBM. The turret will take no more damage.
Envy has been doing a really good job playing around GBM's barrels, though. He's not really been able to have any impactful barrel chains that I can remember this game.
Yeah, he's not like single-handedly winning team fights.
Yeah, he's just not able to nail them. And yes, he is clearing out the waves. Yes, he is scaling, but Envy's doing a great job not only avoiding the barrel chains, but actually killing them off very, very quickly, which is super frustrating for Gangplank players, and especially with the last round of nerfs where you actually do have less barrels to work with. If you do kill 1 or 2 off, all of a sudden you don't even have access to a barrel chain.
Yeah, in any sort of extended sequence that's long enough, you'll eventually spawn more because of the cooldown, but yeah, you don't stack, you don't have as many waiting when you first get to a lane. That's kind of the difference here.
Plus, you're a glass cannon mid laner, right? It's not like you could just charge in there and start meleeing their AD carry once your barrels get killed off. You have to play it slow. You have to play it very carefully, and so much of that is about landing those money barrel chains.
And right now he hasn't gotten too many of them that weren't just on the general minion farm. Vlad with that Hurricane and the Caitlyn Rapid Fire Cannon in as well, and the Zerker Greaves, he has got plenty of attack speed, plenty of damage output. That is an online Caitlyn build. We'll see if he goes for anything else. Yeah.
Up that IE, that's a huge buy for GBM, and this is kind of a massive power spike for him. It'll be interesting to see if he goes, for a Ma or something to try to 1v1 against, Seraph and Ninja better on later, because he's probably the one that has to answer.
We'll see if they are able to answer this one, because right now it's just Envy with what seems like all the questions, and NRG are just kind of hemming and hawing and not knowing how to quite answer everything here. 6,000 health on Baron Nashor. It's Envy looking for the play, then backing it when they realize that NRG are aware of this one. Wards cleared back and forth, and Envy just back out, not wanting to go for that play. Ocean Drake has spawned now on the bot side. And honestly, with how much actual Siege gameplay we're going for, I mean, I always love Infernal Drakes, but it actually would come into some decent use here when you're seeing culling and barrel chains come out. This would help Envy quite a bit, I feel.
Yeah, I think that Ocean Drake is actually quite useful, especially even just for the mana. You see guys like Graves are actually booming quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely the case. Yeah, you're right, the mana is actually a sort of underrated part of this one, but there we go. Proxy going to have many fewer mana woes. Seraph almost won't care. He's topped off almost all the time.
Seraph's never going to run out of mana either, Freak.
No, he's not. Before blue buff gave ability power, there were times where blue buff literally meant nothing on you if you were max CDR.
Yeah.
You could have worn it or not, and it meant nothing, but this time around, Seraph would care regardless, fighting Quas once more, and look at that top lane dude going down, so props to GBM for some good split push game. Yes, that was because Envy wanted to play for the Dragon. At this point, I would probably trade a Dragon for a top lane out of turret. That's okay in my book, but it does mean that NRG are clawing back in. 4,500 the deficit, not the worst in the world. Honestly, it was probably worse than this last time around, so NRG have come back from worse, certainly.
A lot worse. They were down 11K at, what was it, 37 minutes? 38 minutes, so they're definitely hanging in there quite a lot better, and they weren't in a position to challenge the Dragon, so GBM getting the best out of the bad situation. He's going to be able to pick up that turret, collect some of the standing gold that was sitting out around the map, and he's getting very strong. He does pick up the Hex Shrinker, as I suspected. He has to answer against Seraph, and Seraph actually is going Randuin's, as we had talked about earlier. Not a big surprise to me, especially him kind of showing his hand on how tanky he really wants to go with 2 of his 3 first items, Warmog, Spirit Visage, and he already had Tabbies. Yep. I think it's really smart. He's going to do less damage, yes, but he's going to be so disruptive, so annoying, and he can just kind of Rambo into the back line. Quas can't heal him. They have no magic damage that's going to be a threat for him, so he can just basically ignore OQ and GBM.
He's got both more health and more armor than Quas right now. He is very hard to deal with, and he's still got 170 ability power from all the conversions and whatnot. He's going to be probably okay here in this one. It doesn't mean, though, he doesn't have any magic resist. And Quas has a % health damage W. He's getting something done, and then you see that happen, and Seraph gets half the missing health bar back. So trading back and forth. Quas literally just didn't lose health here. Seraph actually had to give him some respect, so maybe at some point he has to deal with that, and Visage maybe isn't enough to ignore Quas.
I think for the most part, although Quas may be able to compete with him by his turret, I don't think he's ever actually going to be able to have enough damage to finish him off, and eventually, you know, Seraph's just going to go back to full. He can't actually straight up just kill Quas because he's just building armor, but he can kind of just stay around and still wave clear. And yeah, Quas is being annoying, but I just can't see the Maokai ever actually being able to really kill him.
And Seraph actually walks up, takes turret shots, and says, I'm going to kill this turret eventually. I've got a Mountain Drake. We're good.
Quas knows it. There's nothing he could really do. He fought as long as he could there, but there's nothing to really push the Vladimir back long term. You can push him back for a wave. You can push him back for 10 seconds maximum. Then that Warmogs is active, and he's back to full.
You're absolutely right. So difficult roads all ahead. He's in the struggles now. Santorin eating a cupcake and losing a lot of health. He took forever to get out there. Just drops down. That lasted longer than I expected, but maybe he just hit another trap after the cooldown period came through, and he's just gone. There's no smite up now for NRG, and that could just be a game-losing play because Envy are on the Baron right now. 7,000 health, dropping lower and lower, and they should be staying around, but Law nearly gets destroyed.
GBM needs a barrel chain. He's got to try to steal this. It's too late.
He's not going to get it at all. That dropped down fast enough. Mountain Drake certainly helping a little bit, and now they can run away, lick their wounds, and empowered recall with an 8,000 gold lead. Envy got to feel real good about closing the series out.
Yeah, Santorin died for free. Didn't even blow his flash. He thought he could still tunnel out, but took the damage on that travel time that actually finished him off. It may have gone down anyway, but to lose your jungler for free like that, 35 minutes into the game is almost a guaranteed Baron when you're already at an advantageous position. And GBM was not there fast enough. I feel like he needed to maybe TP in, just do something. They need to try something to stop that because that's absolutely huge.
Yeah, I agree. And GBM actually, I'm a little bit surprised is even picking up blue buffs because he's got an Essence Reaver and a max CDR already.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what he's really gaining out of that since he's probably got mana regardless. And just like, hey, give it to OQ. Give him max CDR. Give him, you know, that extra mana since he's not running Essence Reaver. I don't know, maybe some small optimizations there. Not really a game-losing mistake in either case. That was probably Santorin's doing, getting picked off right before Baron. And now it's up to the Siege gameplay. The Ocean regen, the Mountain damage output, the Baron buff for the minions. Envy certainly well in control, and the Baron buff will last until Dragon respawns, so they're going to go for this in the top set of the map right there. It would be Elder Dragon when it comes through, but that top lane turret taking a lot of punishment. Shield comes in from Kid to buy a few more seconds, but it's still going to drop down. Now comes the team fight. Hakuho ults to disengage. Santorin to the backside has to run right back away. Look at the damage coming down a lot. He will not be killed. And Prox on the rampage as he's taking down Quas already. Ulti coming across, looking to pop down. Get blocked though by Santorin. And now it's Seraph in the backside. He is invincible to damage. Take it back. He's taking a lot of pain. Survives, heals back up, even through the grievous wounds. Staying up in this one. A 1-for-0 top inhibitor already open. That's going to be taken down by Envy.
Yeah, just barely staying alive there as Seraph, and now they can just go right over to mid lane. They can Baron buff up those minions as well and probably take this. Quas is down, and he was just getting completely ignored by Seraph, who once again did so much work in that fight, diving deep onto the backline, pushing them off. This has got to be 2 inhibs for Envy.
Almost definitely. If they choose to stay, Quas though back up in 15 seconds, and Envy actually choosing discretion as the better part of valor, realizing their bot lane actually quite low on health, and they're like, you know what? We don't want to be part of this one anymore. We got plenty of money from that one. Take the red buff, take the recall. We'll peace out for now. Play for Elder Dragon maybe in a bit. We still got a minute to work with this Baron buff.
At this point, I just feel like you cannot punch through the front line of Envy. And look at how this starts off. Quas is just like, what do I even do? As a Maokai, you can't kill Baron minions. You can't kill the Vladimir. He's just getting ignored, and you got to feel bad for the guy. And look at how tanky Hakuho is. This is a full culling tanking up into him. This is a Braum that is basically taking no damage because he has a Frozen Heart and a Randuin's now complete on top of that. It's just disgusting how tanky they are. They're able to get into the backline and just effectively ignore them, which is allowing so much free time for Proxen, for Ninja, and for Laud to get their damage done because Seraph and Hakuho cannot be ignored, but NRG just doesn't have the damage to kill them.
They really don't, and it's like, it's on GBM as the only real late game fight.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, Janna could theoretically buff up OQ, but OQ's got 20% crit chance and no attack data out of Yomi. He just doesn't have the DPS, and Proxen, though, does get cut off. That is one thing they do have is the burst damage. That comes through. Hakuho ults to buy some time, but be careful, Santorin. There is everyone else coming for you right now. Ninja looks for the damage, flashes in, looks for a bunch of pain,
ult from
and
Ninja
just deletes half of the lineup already. A double kill coming out of Laud. The snipe comes in, can't quite kill off Santorin, but it's 2 for 1. Despite the early pick, advantage Envy.
Yeah, and GBM's on the wrong side of the map. I think it's about to be 3 for 1 as he's likely going to get chased down, but they have bigger things on their mind. They're just going to have Seraph chase him down, and they're going to have Ninja and Laud go straight for the second inhibitor. GBM trying to TP out.
And there's no turret to go for anyway, so now this squad has to regroup and see what they can save. Seraph has no one to kill. He's stuck on the wrong side of the map. It's like 3 versus 3, actually. And so they run away before anything else can happen. Seraph not part of the crew. But now it's 2 inhibitors down. That Elder Dragon's on the map whenever they want it. And they start it now.
Yeah, and it's really hard to see a way that NRG claws their way back into this game simply because of the damage profile of their team. It's almost all physical. So much armor is built up on the other team now. You look at Seraph, he has Zhonya's armor, he has Randuin's, he has Ninja Tabbies, and I don't know if that's a Deadman's or what he's building with that last. It probably is with that Giant Spell. It could be a Rylai's as well, obviously. But
yeah.
Either way, you can't get through the Braum, you can't get through Seraph, and the backline damage is now massive.
It really is scary. We can watch that play again. It was a nice first pickup and a proxy, even with the barrel.
Yep. Yeah, really good barrel chain there from GBM plus the ult. They're able to pop and kill Proxim really, really quickly. Another good barrel chain actually chunking out Ninja, but watch that ult. That is so much damage on all 3 members. OQ is at like 5% HP off that. He has to run away, and Ninja won that fight with a beautiful claw-in Flash W ultimate. Really good stuff.
Exactly. If Laud could have seen OQ, OQ is dead. He nearly killed Santorin with the ulti anyway.
Yep.
And it meant, well, Elder Dragon picked up, and it's going to be on for another minute and maybe 15 seconds right here. And they can do plenty with that. And as soon as they're done pushing with Elder Dragon, well, Baron's back up, and Envy can just keep cycling the map and just taking everything off of it. Here's some jungle camps to kill, 1,000 damage crits, no big deal.
Yep.
Thanks very much, 100 gold to Laud.
You know what's making me really sad, though, is that there's no Executioner's Culling. There's no Last Whisper item at all on OQ. At 40 minutes into the game against a Vladimir
he got
and a
Scimitar
Braum
instead.
with a ton of armor. And I just think that sitting on the QSS and picking up that Executioner's Culling and the Last Whisper item is just so much better than the build that he has right now.
Totally
There's just
agree.
almost no way he can deal with this. Not only does it cut the Vladimir's health regen massively down, but you're actually punching through that armor and able to do some impactful damage.
At least he has the cleaver to help everyone else out with this
Yeah.
one, but even
I mean,
after
it's
that...
a flat armor pen, which when they have hundreds of armor,
Well, cleaver's a percentage shred. It's the Yoma's
Oh,
it's flat,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, like, he's giving some aspect. Now, I completely agree. Like, Executioners should be in that build, 100%. At the very least that. Maybe not Mortal Reminder, but he's still missing out on that 800 gold piece that everyone should have against the Vladimir team. And now, here comes the play on the top side. Seraph just taking up forever. He just kind of can ignore most of this. Goes back in the single pool, looking for someone else to kill. And here's the empowered Q. And hey, he's got a bit of a debuff, but who even cares in this one? Again, popping the Zhonya's, looking to kite away. Still just not going down. Can ignore everything else. The bottom inhibitor goes down. That's all 3 inhibs gone. That's Envy looking to close out the series. There's the snipe. There's the kill off on Quas, who couldn't even flash away. He died too fast. A nice barrel chain buys some time. Proxim's low, but doesn't even matter. It's a 5v4. The push is in. They're looking to close this one out. It's a long series. It took over 2 hours of gameplay to make it happen, but this should be Envy closing it out unless a miracle comes through. Santorin forced to run away, nearly dead, just barely survives it, but there's all the turrets. All the buildings are gone. Now it's time for the game-winning push. Proxim's dead, but the Nexus is gone as well, and Envy are gonna be in first place after their first match.
good stuff from Envy. They close it out. They had a good team comp. They played to their win conditions. I love the build from Seraph. Really, really smart, I have to say. He knew what he needed to get done. He didn't need to do the damage. Allow the backline to do that job. Tank it up, be disruptive. In there with Hakuo. Fantastic stuff from Envy. And you gotta say, NRG just kind of looked outclassed in this series.
They really did. You were seeing elements that were fine. OQ and KiwiKid, one lane a little bit, but hey, they were solid as a 2-on-2. GBM, great mid laner, did fine for himself. Santorin kind of routinely out-farmed Proxin in a number of these games, at least, game 2 especially, but it felt like between minute 8 and minute 37, Envy was significantly the better team. And to me, that's actually the most important part of the game. Because, look, laning phase is you playing ranked games regularly and just learning how to play League of Legends. That's not hard to get close up to par. But the fact that they were constantly making better rotations, better ganks, the coordination was there, that's props to Envy. That's good on them for having that cohesion and making those plays happen.
Yeah, and NRG on the other side of things, they did pick up that one win on the back of kind of a Herculean effort from GBM, who was absolutely massive on Vladimir the previous game, but this time around, he could not replicate the magic on Gangplank. He got shut down. He was able to get some good barrel chains, but for the most part, his barrels were getting picked off. They were being avoided, and he has a Vladimir just running straight at him, and he wasn't even able to have the chance to do it.
That's kind of the case. Is they won when GBM hard carried.
Yep.
That's kind of the story of NRG all year and a little bit of this, where you didn't feel like there was a lot going for that team in the earlier split. I don't think there's any dead weight in this roster, really. Like, I think you don't have these sort of Moon-like experiences where he just never got it going in the LCS just yet. But even still, it's like you just have an uncoordinated team of good players where you're not making any plays.
I will say, I actually think that NRG's best game was the last game as far as team effort. I think that the players actually played pretty well. I really think that a lot of it came down to the team composition. They just did not have a diverse damage profile. They didn't have the ability to actually kill these people once they stacked armor. And I think that was really one of their downfalls, as well as not having Executioner's Culling. They just didn't really have any ways to deal with this Vladimir. You know, there's not enough actual CC to stop him from pooling. They don't have, you know, silence. They're not picking a Soraka into it to like try to silence him or do something. You know, there has to be some answer to him, and they really built no answer into their team composition. And the last game, I actually felt like NRG played pretty well, but their draft, I think, fell short pretty hard for me.
Yeah, I like their drafts in the first few games. Like, we saw what their team comp could do at the end of game 2. I, again, still thought their comp was great in game 1. They had to lose early game to not lose it, and that is what happened. So, you know, massive props to Envy for what they did. But, yeah, even though NRG looked good in game 3 and GBM had a pretty good performance, doesn't matter. Envy was much better as a team. Loved their coordination, loved their play, super aggressive. Massive props to Seraph in the top lane as well. And so now for more on that Envy win, let's send it over to Dom, who's got the winning team's top laner stage side for an interview.
Thank you, guys. I am joined by Seraph, the Titan in the top lane himself. Congratulations on the 2-1 victory, man. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about your preparation coming into this game. Obviously, you guys recently formed as a team.
Well, we hadn't like not much for practice because when MB bought the seed for LCS, there is not much a free agent, so it's really difficult to find the jungler and AD carry. But we find the Proxy and Lord. I think that both are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, they performed very well over the course of this series. And now I want to know your opinion on your new teammates.
Well, it's like fourth team for me, but this team is perfect since my league. So I really love my teammates, and especially organization is insanely good. Yeah, I love Team MB.
Very good. We're looking to see how you guys perform. And now finally, you are arguably one of the best top laners in the league right now, up there with Darshan and Hanser. Are there any other people that you're looking forward to facing over the course of the split?
Well, some people, I think myself, I'm improved compared to 3 years ago because I practice all days. But I think I still need to for more improving. So I think I'm not top level right now. So I need to be more improved.
All right, well, we'll see if that happens. Seraph, thank you so much for that. Congratulations on the 2-1 victory. For now, though, we're going to send it over to Dash and everybody else to break that game down.
Thank you very much, Dom. Team Envy going to be very happy to pull out the 2-1 against NRG, kicking off their LCS debut with a victory here on Friday, and much deserved, to be quite honest. But in breaking down not only this game but the series, I do kind of want to get your guys' opinion on the evolution of the series. Since we are getting an opportunity to see these best of threes, how do we see these teams develop within each of the games?
Yeah, and I absolutely love this one as just a prime example because game 1, Vladimir is not picked or banned at all. Game 2, it goes all the way to the last round for NRG where they pick it alongside Maokai. And then in the last game, NRG takes the gamble and it gets first picked by Team Envy. And that's the adaptation there, is they go, oh, Vladimir is really high priority. It was very hard to deal with in game 2. We need to take this away game 1. And that's the thing, is if that had happened on the other side, they would have had to become a ban if that means Team Envy was red side in the last game. So I love that in best of threes where people are getting the series meta.
Yeah, and in the vacuum of the final game as well, I do have to blame the picks and bans a little bit there because Vladimir was legitimately the first pick. And there wasn't a Vladimir counter pretty much anywhere in that team composition. They pick a passive mid laner and Gangplank. Lucian ganked the Vladimir for the 2 kills. That was the only way they were able to kill Seraph, and then they gave up objectives or major map pressure on the other side of the map the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, we're no strangers to throwing criticism at NRG for their lack of early game, right? Both in last split and this one. And here, again, didn't seem like they were doing themselves a ton of favors picking the likes of GP. Now, I mean, you look at Rek'Sai should be able to gank, and Maokai provides a fair amount of gank assistance, but Seraph played the early game under his own turret, able to last hit with that snap casting E. And so he was able to kind of skate through that early portion of the game where he may have been susceptible to any form of ganking, and then got to that power point where, well, Maokai's a Maokai. He's not going to beat a Vladimir in a 1v1.
Yeah, especially, it was really weird because the build that Seraph went for, he was just completely countering the damage profile of NRG. He's just stack armor. I have my Spirit Visage for you, Maokai. That's totally fine. And then he became unable to be dealt with by like any two people. And then he just walks away from these things. He starts grouping up for fights. And I love that he's pulling so much pressure and drawing two people to him, because that's the Seraph that I know is you have to answer him because he's going to split push until like basically the sun goes down, and he's going to keep doing it until he ends the game. But if you send one person to deal with him and he does the damage check and he's going to win, then he's like, okay, you better send two people here. And the team is always doing something to capitalize on that. Regardless of what team Seraph has been on since the time he was on CLG, this has pretty much been the way he loves to play the game.
Now, before we move away from the Vladimir point, I do want to hit this one more time. I know we've been hitting it all night, but Executioner's Culling was talked about in the cast as well. I mean, more so because I think that, you know, you mentioned like evolution and of best of threes, but also of the meta itself, as we'll see it over these next couple weeks. And given the fact that even on 6-11 there weren't any changes going in on Vladimir, Vladimir's going to be around for a little while. So it's going to behoove the players to figure out how to deal with him sooner rather than later. And inhibiting his healing is one of the ways that you need to do it.
I want to see the right lane counters. I want to see what you can play against in the top lane, and even just having a damage distribution in your team composition that isn't all one type goes a long way in being able to kill those guys that can just repetitively heal over and over again.
Yeah, I also think we're going to see him a lot in the ban column.
Maybe, yeah, that's
because
what happened a fair bit in Europe, too.
Yeah, I don't think that Zyra's going to be banned every game. I don't think Swain's going to be banned every game, right? I think that these are some target bans that came out here, as well as some things like Karma also made her way into there. So there's a lot of room to just put him into your bans, because as time goes on and like 6-11 hits, right, some people will be like, oh, maybe Kindred isn't as high up. Maybe Nidalee isn't high up. So you're going to be able to actually slot in some Vladimir bans later on.
With all that, let's close out the Vladimir talk with our player of the game announcement being
Was it Vladimir?
Yeah, it's Vladimir. It might as well be. No, Seraph picking that up as he did kind of open up the map. We did see that his ability to pressure that top lane, drawing OQ up, I mean, that was huge.
And the whole series, like if we just look at the big scope of this, obviously this player of the game was for this game individually,
Right.
but Seraph did destroy Quas in all three games. He got to play against Maokai three times in a row, and even just recognizing that throughout the series, that Quas was not on his game, that he was making poor initiations. You pick a scaling laner against him like Vladimir, Seraph is going to have a good time, and it just played out exactly like that in the final game.
Exactly. Seraph found that his lane opponent was not up to snuff, and he's just going to keep pushing down that lane. That's what happened when he's in Challenger too, because there's a lot of Challenger top laners that can't hold up to him. So this is not unfamiliar territory for him. He went 4-4 and 17. Quas went 0, 11, and 20. Had really bad engages pretty much the entire series, and Seraph capitalized on all of that.
All right.
0 kills in 3 games, not good. I just want to touch really quickly
Yeah.
on how this is actually very promising for Envy as well. As Seraph just said, they had to put the team together super late, and they get the series win, but not just the fact that they get the series win. The game they lost was 65 minutes long in game 2. Like, these were 3 games in which they had control of them for the majority against an organization who went to the playoffs last split. So that's a great start for Envy.
Well, you answered my question before I asked it. That's where I was going to go next, was to ask you, you know, with 3 games of evidence, what are our thoughts on Envy? Do you have anything to add with that team? Otherwise, I'm going to throw NRG your way and ask you for your kind of assessment on NRG 3 games in.
For Envy, I really like them. I've always been a big fan of Seraph and the way that he plays the game, and I've seen him improve, because a lot of people talk like, oh, I've improved. He's had consistent improvement in that top lane, where I've said it at the start of this, where I think he's top 3, top 4 top laner in the league right now, and with his shot calling, because I think he has a really good macro game strategy and really good instincts for that this is a team that can go to the playoffs. I think they have playoff potential in them, even if they think that they've been like thrown together the last second there. The bottom lane, like Freak said at the start of the day, is kind of the ones who seem a little bit left out, but they seem to be holding up right now.
A win over NRG is a good first step on the road towards making it to playoffs for Team Envy. With our first 2 series in the books, we can go ahead and update the standings before the remainder of our games this week. Congratulations to TSM and Team Envy on their wins today, placing them at the top of the hill. Now the rest of the Pack 6 just behind, with today's losing teams CLG and NRG at the bottom of the table. That brings us to tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see which teams will get on the board with a win, so make sure to find your way back to us for more games and the first glimpse of the new NALCS dual stream format. So again, a reminder, on NALCS1, you can see C9's match with Immortals and Team Envy playing Liquid in the Battle Arena, while over in the Battle Theater will feature games between Echo Fox and Phoenix 1, followed by Apex against NRG. Now you can find those matches on the NALCS 2 stream, rather. And of course, before we sign off, the sporting world suffered a great loss tonight as boxing legend Muhammad Ali passed away. Ali was an inspiration to sporting fans around the world and will be dearly missed. Rest in peace, champ. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.